welcome back to the Zoe Marley channel, the #1 place for aspiring authors to learn the art of how to tell their story. In today's video, we are going to be tackling an elephant in the room. We are going to be addressing something difficult and hard, so this might not be the funniest video I ever put out, but it is something that needs to be talked about, and it definitely needs to be thought about before you continue world building. All right, so we're going to be talking about unconscious bias. What does bias mean? So this is an assumption that you make based off of some very normal stereotype. Sometimes the stereotypes are very accurate, sometimes they're not. I'll give you an example. So usually older people are assumed to be more responsible. I would say that's a fairly accurate stereotype, but we all have that one uncle that you wouldn't trust for the world, right? We all have that one auntie that's had a few too many drinks at the Christmas party. At the end of the day, yes, there's an overall stereotype that somebody older is more responsible. That doesn't mean it applies to everyone, right? So it would be unfair for me to give, let's say I'm getting my book edited and I'm choosing between two editors. If one is 20 years old and one is 50 years old, you know, I might go, hey, this one's gonna be more responsible. She's got more experience. She's gonna be better. Maybe those assumptions are true, but you need to realize you're making a decision based off an assumption instead of actual data. Actually do your research. Look at the two editing styles, compare them, and then determine it, not based off of age, not based off of looks, but based off of content. All right, so now we've talked about bias. What is unconscious bias? And in my opinion, I believe the majority of the people in the world do not have harmful intentions. All right, so let's talk about the different types of bias. I have it written down because there's a lot and I'm really bad at lists that are longer than like 10 things. So we got age, gender, culture, race, religion, disability, sexual orientation, income level, education level, accents, social status, lifestyle, the way you look, right? There's probably a couple I've forgotten. Let me know in the comments below. What did I forget? What do I need to highlight? What is something that you find most people don't think about? All right, so why does unconscious bias even exist? I know you're sitting there and you're like, all right, so you think that everyone is nice, no one is mean intentionally. Why would it be around if it was? Well, the reason I believe it's around is because I think it's something that dates back to our caveman days where we were focused on survival and our brains had to be very, very efficient to survive. And so something that our brains did is they scanned the area around us and they were like, okay, so this is different, this is different, this is different, this is different. Is this a harm? Is that a harm? Is this dangerous? What is going to help me survive? And they have to do it instantly. And so whenever we're looking at people or situations or just different things, we can't help but just categorize, doop, 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 doop. Okay, so now that we know that everybody does this and that we're all kind of guilty in some way, some shape, some form, and we're doing it without harmful intent, what do we do from here? Especially as authors, what do we do? Right? Well, we have to be intentional and inclusive. So you have to, when you're building your world, you need to look at, okay, I have 10 characters. I'm going to intentionally be inclusive. We need to look at each character on an individual basis and really consider, am I looking at our people and am I representing our world fairly? List all of those different categories that I mentioned. See if you can research and find more categories. If you do, comment below, let me know. And then pick some things from each one of them and you're going to find that not only does this add depth to your characters, they're going to become more relatable. Maybe they're not more relatable to you, but maybe they're more relatable to someone else in this world that is struggling. Let me give you a real life example. My best friend growing up, her name is Brittany. And Brittany, without a doubt, is one of the most incredible people I have ever met. So Brittany and I used to, we got into some trouble, but there was one thing about Brittany that it was very different than anyone else in our school. And that was that she was born deaf. Now I want to pause for a second. I want you to think about all of the ways that you would assume someone deaf, kind of what their life would be like. So let me tell you a little bit about Brittany's life and a little bit about how she's faced some challenges in her life. And I want you to compare that to your assumptions that you just made very quickly. So Brittany, first, is a bombshell. You look at her and she's got this huge curly blonde hair. She's got the biggest blue eyes you've ever seen and this smile that goes on for miles. Okay, she is just absolutely gorgeous. She is enthusiastic and energetic, and it is absolutely natural. And so she's just this big, vibrant person, and anytime she gets excited, she just lights up a room. Everyone knows it, like completely changes the atmosphere. Everyone that meets her loves her. It is unreal, right? And so being one of the most popular girls in school might not have been on your assumption list, but Brittany, hands down, was one of the most popular girls in school. All right, so when we were little, we played basketball together, okay? And you would think that, especially with like huddles and calls, you know, sweat maybe getting in her hearing aid, whatever the case may be, you would think that it would stop her. But no, she was the point guard. Everyone learned signals. We didn't yell across the floor. When she did this, we knew exactly what she was about to do. We knew exactly how to move. We adjusted to her because she was a natural leader. Is that something that you assumed? Maybe not. So we got a bombshell. We have one of the most popular girls in schools. We had an amazing athlete who was a leader and led an entire team on the floor, even though it was different than what most leadership looked like. At the end of the day, yes, she has a disability. Yes, she was an inspiration for so many deaf children in our community. She's absolutely wonderful in every way, and she has never let it slow her down. If anything, she plays off of people's assumptions and just shocks them. And it is the coolest thing as someone that's always, you know, kind of been on the sidelines cheering her on, girl, you do your thing. I am just so proud of her. I will always be proud of her. And when I think of unconscious bias and I think of people doing things, making assumptions, no matter what area in their life it is, I think of her and I think of how much she's overcome, how she hasn't given up, and how much she isn't this like stereotype. She is so much more. So when you're adding diversity and you're adding stereotypes into your story, think about how much richer it can be if you flip this stuff on people's assumptions. So I will tell you an absolutely amazing way that this was done in a very famous fantasy book and TV series. Have you ever heard of The Witcher? Now, this may be the only time I admit this, but I have only read one Witcher book and I wasn't very fond of it. But I really digged the TV series that was on Netflix. At least only the first season has been out so far. So I don't know what it's going to be like in the future. But what I've seen so far, I super dig it. And tell me in the comments below, did anyone else get totally surprised, the little black boy, And eventually he takes off his hat and he's an elf. That totally played against my assumptions because I had this like very pale and long-legged, flowing blonde hair elf in my mind. I don't have a little black boy elf. I don't even think of elves as children, to be quite honest. I don't know why. There has to be children, right? Anyway, was anyone else shocked by that? Is that just me? I thought it was awesome. They did that and I was like, oh, whoa. Awesome job. Whoever produced, directed, if it was the writer, awesome job with that one because you turned my assumptions upside down. And think of how powerful that could be for your writing. I mean, that's just one extra layer to a plot twist, right? Is that you made this assumption and it ends up being totally wrong and you don't even know why you made the assumption. Really dig into all of these different parts of us because you want to relate to as many people as you can, and you can't do that unless you have a diverse cast. All right, guys, so I'm gonna leave you with one last tip. Listen closely because it's the hardest tip for any human being to do. You realize you have done this accidentally. What do? It's okay to make mistakes. You just gotta fix them. Don't forget, comment below if you know of another way someone can be biased. Comment below if you have diverse characters that you want to share with me. I want to hear it. And most importantly, if you got value from this video, if you believe in the message in this video, hit that like button. All right, and I am pumping out 50 right now or never videos to help you learn the art of writing. I am giving you different ideas and different techniques, things to chew on, things to think about. If this is something you're into, guys, go to my page and click that subscribe button and click that little bell. All right, thank you.